Hello everyone, my name is Meherdeep Singh Bakshi, and me and my group are here to present in front of you Global Business Skill Workshop on a country, Egypt. Christian, let's start with it. Geography of Egypt. So, the geography of Egypt relates to two regions, North Africa and Southwest Asia. It borders Libya to the west, and Gaza Strip to the northeast, Israel to the east, and Sudan to the south. Next slide, please. History of Egypt. Egypt remained entirely under the Ottoman until 1805, except during French occupation. A nominally autonomous tributary state called the Khedivate of Egypt. After the end of World War One, the Egyptian Revolution of 1919, UK, United Kingdom, retained control over foreign affairs. Next slide, please. Language of Egypt. The official language of Egypt is Arabic, and most Asians speaks one of the several vernacular dialects of that language. Modern literary Arabic, often called Al-Fuja, clear Arabic, which developed out of classic or medieval Arabic, is learned in only in school. Next slide, please. Food in Egypt. Full Madame is the most popular street food snack in Egypt. Full is a paste of mashed bread, broad fava, which is called there, and beans flavored with garlic and olive oil. Next slide, please. Popular culture. In Egyptian popular culture, Mawala style of singing spread in Arab world has its own identity. Egypt has many styles. Folk art has always been a part of the culture, but the intervention of the music industry in matter has given it many more privileges and encourages many more various artisans to come together and work with it.
Okay.
Christian, you can take.
According to the economics indicator in Egypt, we choose these two indicators. First of all, is gross domestic products per capita, because represent the income level in the country in Egypt. We can see there is a growing behavior of this indicator. Actually, in 2022, Egypt has a good income level with $3,800 per person. Uh, Also, we choose the inflation rate because this represent the how the real prices in a country vary, the variation of real prices in a country. So as we can see, there is a lot of variation of this indicator through the years, but in 2021 and 2022, the inflation rate was less than 10%. This is really good for that economy. A major industry and export, as we can see this chart, agriculture, industry, and service represents the major industry in Egypt. First of all, is agriculture with approximately 13%. After is industry with 37%, and services that represent the half of the total economy in Egypt. Oil and other mineral products represent 32% of the total exports. Uh, Chemical products 12%, and agricultural products, livestock, represent the 11%. So we can say that this country is an exporter country of oil and other minerals, and generally talking, and depends on services and industry. Punctuality and appointments. Well, in Egypt, it's not considered the main priority, uh, but it's considered usually begin with the host serving coffee or tea. So it's a slow meeting with your partner, Egyptian partner. It's slow because and there is not a fast solution, a fast negotiation. You have to talk with your partner with a light conversation about families because they are orientated to talk about this. They are family oriented. The socialization period is essential to establish a trust and confidence between you and your partner in order to conduct in a business. Concept of time. Expect a meeting to be prolonged and continue for much longer than planned. This is really important because in Occident, in Canada, and United States, we are we try to solve our negotiation as fast as possible. But with the Egyptian people, this is different. You have to take your time, know your partner, talk about their family, their traditions. It's a low process, but they usually make business with foreign people. So uh, Egypt negotiation. Egyptian business people are usually experienced in interacting and this business with visitors from other cultures. As I said before, we have to conduct the business in a slow time, but they usually experienced with this, so they know that we try to solve fast our business. It's useful to have an Egyptian agent to do business. This this is important because Egypt has a lot of traditions, a lot of taboos, a lot of behavior that we don't know. So it's important in order to conduct a business with Egyptian people to have an Egyptian agent, so they can teach us how to be, for example, in a dining meeting, or how is the etiquette in the business meeting. The pace of business is slower in Egypt than in the European working culture. As I said before, this is um, in short, is what I talked before. So expecting immediate result is not wise. You have to take your time, know your Egyptian partners in order to conduct a business.
Holidays in Egypt. First one is Eid and Labor Day. On these days, there is no business at all. People want to take a rest from the business. Eid, like there are different type of Eids, like Eid ul Zuha, Eid Bakr, and on these days there is no business at all. Move the slides, please. So people want to take rest on these days. There is no business. Next slide is business dealing. Introduction. Whenever there is any person visit to the Egypt for the introduction for business purpose, then people like to meet with the person with their titles. Like sometimes they call with, sometimes they introduce the other person with their surname, and if there is no surname people used by the people, then they start their name with the Mr., Mrs., or with the title. Then conversation. Most of the time, business use Egyptian representation to explain major business part in the business partner's language. They will not proceed until the counterpart decide that they are like to do. So when they have great interest in the conversation, they like to know each and everything about the project in which they are going to invest. Next slide, please. Next is body language and business meetings. So eye contact is considered as a major part while we are meeting with the business. So if you have eye contact with your partners, then it is considered as honesty and trust. But use of left hand is considered as bad when we are talking with any person. But the thing is that they consider left hand as a dirty, so that's why they don't consider any action from the backhand. Folding legs also considered as an offense. If we are pointing to someone while we are talking, then it is so considered as extremely rude in Egypt. We cannot sit our leg hand over the others, and in Egypt and all Arabic countries, thumbs up is reactions is considered as an offense. Then there is meals. Now, if we are talking about the meals, then Egyptian people mostly prefer to leave the food in their plates instead of wipe off. Secondly, they mostly like to exchange the gift while they're sharing the meal with other person. They don't like to share alcohol in the meetings. So the main thing is in the Egypt is that if anyone add the salt in the food, it is considered as an offense, especially if we taking food in an Egyptian's home.
So now I'm going to talk about the format of addressing. So in Egypt, mostly the addressing is done in the Egyptian Arabic language because it's an Arabic country. So in the front of the name, they use Mr. and Mrs. It's a formal thing to speak anyone, or in if we are talking with our friends or someone who is related very close to us, so we can use informal language in the Egypt. Now I'm going to talk about the gestures and non-verbal communication which is used in Egypt. So first I'm going to talk about the physical contact. If we are very close to someone, so we can touch him during the conversation. And now I'm going to talk about the personal space. And in the Egypt, the people believe that we have an arm length distance between a person while talking. And now I'm going to talk about the gesture. Egyptian are the people who use their fingers and hand movement as a gesture during the conversation. And eye contact. Eye contact is very important in Egyptian. Uh, Non-verbal communication, they have a direct communication, and sometimes it shows as a symbol of respect to other person. And lastly, gift giving. In as I Now I'm talking about the gift giving. The gift giving is done by the both hand. In Egypt, people use their both hand to give and receive gifts. And then if you are invited to any Egyptian dinner, so do not forget to bring fruits, pastries, and so on things. So thank you.
Egyptian follows many customs, and some of them are following. Greeting are based on both classes and the religion of the person. Handshake are the customary greeting among individuals of the same sex, and once a relationship has developed, it is a common to kiss one's cheek and then the other while shaking the hand, the men with men and women with women. In any greeting between man and woman, the woman must extend the hand at first, and if does not, a man should bow his head in a greeting. And you would normally remove your shoes before entering, and dresses will be concentratory appearance and important to Egyptian. Next slide, please. Okay, religion. Religion in Egypt control many aspects of social life and is endorsed by law. The state religion of Egypt is Islam. Islam is 19.30%, Christianity is 9.6%, and other is 0.1%. In Egypt, the Muslim and Christianity shares a common history, national identity, ethnicity, and race and culture. And ancient Egyptian religion was a complex system, and the former religious practice mainly centered on the pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt. Clothing. Okay, the ancient Egyptian was cloth made from linen, and wealthy people wore very soft linen cloth, and poor people and peasants wore rough linen cloth. Okay, next slide. Okay, men should wear a dark color, lightweight, conservative business suit at least on the first meeting, and men should avoid wearing visible jewelry, especially around the face and neck. Women must be careful to cover themselves appropriately, and skirts and dress should be covered. The knee and sleeve should cover the most of the arms. And these are the Egyptian business dress etiquettes. Thank you.
Well, in conclusions, we can say that Egypt has a growing behavior in the economy, with a growing behavior in the GDP per capita, but with an unstable inflation rate. Also, we can say that if we want to conduct a business with Egyptian companies, we have to follow their social rules and respect their religions, Christianity and Islam. We must expect a low negotiation, as I said before in previous slides, a low and slow negotiation, knowing the families, know the tradition of Egyptian partners, and all process we have to be carefully of our conduct also. Thank you very much.